Alright, what's going on, aviators? What's going on, adventurers? Hey everybody, look, everyone's checking in already. Good gracious, y'all are anxious to get started. I'm an hour late. And y'all are just chomping at the bit. Well, I'm happy that y'all are here. Pleasure to have you aboard. You can see the sim is still booting up in the background there, so figured I'd just go ahead and get the stream started. We'll start going over the flight plan, and then once we get the sim finished booting up, we'll go ahead and connect to VATSIM, and we'll go ahead and get this thing underway. But at least in the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and start talking about what it is that we're doing. Doing 2 legs tonight. We're starting in Palm Springs, California, and heading first to San Diego International. We're going to start by going to demonstrate the Localizer 2.7 approach into San Diego. However, we're going to do it a little bit differently than you might normally see. We're going to do it, well, first of all, we're going to do it slant alpha. We're not going to do it with a FMC that might provide us some guidance as to the vertical descent profile. But we're going to do it not only slant alpha, but we're going to do it slant alpha. Well, I guess, actually, if we're doing slant alpha, if we're doing it radio navigation without DME, then technically we're doing it slant uniform, right? Isn't that the right code? If you're radio nav without DME, I think that's actually slant uniform. So yeah, we're doing a slant uniform adventure. Who knew? But anyway, yeah. So I want to go ahead and show you how to do that approach without the use of DME, so that we can kind of see what it looks like to use the second VOR gauge, the second VOR, second nav radio and second VOR gauge to ascertain your position along an airway at an intersection. We may even try to do that if there's an opportunity. We may even try to do that at this point Cano, if we can. So that we had a request from one of our viewers. Good Evening was his name. So and I called him Evening. He wanted to kind of see firsthand how one uses 2 VOR gauges to kind of locate yourself at an intersection if you didn't have DME, or if you wanted to cross-check your position with DME. So we'll go ahead and do that. We got the sim booted up now, but I still want to go ahead and show you this flight plan. We're going to depart out of Palm Springs. Now, normally it's the Cathedral 1 that I like to fly out of Palm Springs, and that's the departure that kind of takes you spiraling upward and then westbound. However, we're going to come out to this Thermal VOR and then south and west into San Diego, kind of from the east here. So it's the Thermal 6 departure, so it's a little bit different. We're going to join this Victor 137 airway for either from a 090 heading or a 075 heading, depending on which way we depart out of the airport. We'll pick up this Thermal VOR. We are then proceeding, I think it's on this 203 radio, the Victor 514. Is that right? Is that what I filed? What did I file? So the weird thing is, like, there's not a real good transition point for slant alpha aircraft, radio nav aircraft, into the VOR 2.7. The VOR 2.7 approach. There's not really a good, there's not an initial feeder fix. We'll show you this when we get a little closer in and we start looking at the approach in more detail. There's not really a good radio nav initial fix to get into the localizer. So I just filed it Victor 514 down to Cano, and we'll get radar vectors from there. We do actually have an approach controller on in San Diego. I don't know if he's going to stay on. He's been on for about a half an hour, so hopefully he'll be on for a little bit. And we got, I'm not, that's right, I'm not connected yet. I don't actually know. He may even cover Palm Springs. We'll have to ask him if he, obviously the circle here depicts that he doesn't, but the TRACON area, extends out pretty much a lot further than what these boundaries depict. The TRACON boundaries are kind of rather irregular, so he might cover Palm Springs, or actually the SoCal up here might cover Palm Springs. We'll have to ask. SoCal does, says northwest? Okay, yeah. Kind of figured in, and V, I'm going to struggle and figure the, hang on, I got to parse this. V, Proenca. Okay, your name is Victim. I'm 20 years old, want to play together with you. Okay, well, if you're an aviation enthusiast, go ahead and boot yourself up at Palm Springs on the VATSIM network and fly along. Pleasure to have you aboard, by the way. All right, so anyway, so there we are. We're going to get our clearance from him, and then, like I said, we'll get radar vectors in. Hopefully he'll still be online. We'll get radar vectors in from Cano into the VOR 27 approach into San Diego. Anyway, that's the overview here. Let's go ahead and get to run the controls through their ranges and all this stuff that I usually do off stream. When, of course, it's the DC-3. The DC-3 doesn't even boot up in a true cold and dark, so kind of have to do a handful of things. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do, I felt like the last few times we were on. Let's just try that. I feel like the airplane sounds have been a little light in the stream, a little hard to hear, so pump those up a little bit, see how that goes. Sparker in VR is here as well. And by the way, hello to everyone else who checked in. I didn't name you by name. I apologize for my rudeness, but Northwest Orient's here. Ken Pryor, Eli Hysteria, Justin C., Nate Aviation, and does that cover everybody? Yeah, oh, and good evening. You were here. Good, very good. Glad you're here to see this. All right, so, again, let's get back to my my checklist here. I know we're kind of scrambling. I was had kind of a busy evening, but oh, in Lone Space and Crixel. Barrett and Lindy are both fixes on the Lucky Star. Yeah, and of course that's all RNAV stuff that I can't do. So, all right, so let's run through. There's a handful of stuff that that should be cold and should be set for cold and dark that aren't. So the marker beacon sounds, the radio master, the panel lights and instrument lights. The clock should be running. Let's get the yokes out of the way. Clock is where? Clock is up here. There we go. DME, we'll flip over to nav1 for now. We're actually going to flip that back later so that we don't have the reference for it. Tailwheel lock should be on. Fuel tank should be off. Radio altimeter should be set to 1x. Get the armrest out of the way. And the cow flap should be closed, which is to the right, clockwise. Okay, so now it's in a good cold and dark situation. Fuel load for this flight, we've calculated 2,713 is the desired starting fuel load, 2770, that's close enough. We'll reduce the payload to get it legal. Apply the changes. All right, now we're ready to start firing up. Let's take a look at this thing, by the way. Got this beautiful custom livery that Northwest Orient made for us. It'd be a shame not to at least look at it once. There we go. Well, the Barrett Star is not RNAV, but it's turbojet only. You're right. So I did misspeak there. It is a non-RNAV approach, or non-RNAV star, but it says turbojet only. So I still can't fly it. All right. Let's see. Master battery can come on. The nav lights can come on. Oh, there's our one to go. Oh, no, that's the dryer. Nav lights can come on. Beacon light can come on. Fuel tanks can go back into mains. And in this aircraft, the fuel system's not fully complete, so we'll just put it in left aux, and that just activates all fuel tanks. Heck of a livery there, says Melvin Leroy. Greetings, sir. And Lone Space, I can't remember if I said hi, but hi. Let's see. Now we can get the cals open. Yep. I know. Sometimes I close them just so I can open them. Makes a whole lot of sense. So you know what else I didn't do? I'm still not connected to VATSIM. Let's go ahead and get XPilot started up. Yeah, while we're there's XPilot. All right, I'm gonna connect. We're DC-3 today. No cell cal code. Although we will be over the Pacific Ocean, but we still don't need a cell cal code. Alright, so we're connected. We'll file the flight plan when it comes to that in my checklist here. Do we spawned in on top of somebody? No, we're good. Oh, there's the other DC-3. That would be Mr. Northwest Orient over there. Alright. I don't know that for sure, but I'm taking a pretty educated guess. Cal's open. Props can go full forward, and that's that one there. Throttle can be cracked slightly. We'll start with the number 2. Put the mix to full rich. Alright, so what is it? It's a mix magnetos, fuel pump, prime it and start it, but we're also going to take a peek out the right window and make sure that there's nobody walking around it. I hear that beautiful twin wasp fire up. Gotta love it. Alright, once we're sure we've got oil pressure, go ahead and shut the fuel pump off and get the generator on. And that completes the number 2 startup. At that point, we've got electrical power. We can go inverter and radio master. Whoops, on. And now we can go ahead and send our flight plan. Let's bring X-Pilot over here and get the flight plan in front of us. We are IFR today. We are going from KPSP. We're going to KSAN. Our alternate is AVX. Departure time, we're going to call it 0240. Wheels up. Time en route's fairly short one. It's going to be 049, and total fuel load is 323. Cruise speed in this thing is about 180. Cruise altitude is 10,000. We're going to need that to clear some terrain here on the outskirts of Palm Springs. You can kind of see out the window we got some rocks to avoid. It's the Thermal 6 to Thermal TRM, Victor 514, and Cano. Again, that's the bastardized route. That's as close as we can get. And I think that should cover it, right? Go ahead and file that. Screaming Cheese is here. Ken says, playing my guitar a little while watching the stream. Do I have the amp too loud? Absolutely no. Is that, hey man, is that Freedom Rock you're playing? Well, turn it up. Alright, what is next? Alright, we've set the flight plan. We'll check the, we got an ATIS here, or low ceiling today. Yeah, maybe. Last I checked, well, let's just do a METAR here. Last I checked, the weather at Catalina was looking okay. So we'll see. KPSP. Overcast at 10,000. 240 at 7. 2985. So we want westbound departure. 2985. First of all, let's get that set before I forget. 2985, and that should put the field elevation to what now? Charted field elevation here is 476. Okay, close. We might be slightly plus or minus 100. I always say is okay. Go ahead and obtain our clearance. And again, I don't know which Northwest says one of these guys does cover. I'm going to check in 19.6 San Diego. If it's the other frequency, though, he'll tell me. Let me make sure audio levels are all good. And that was one other thing I wanted to do. I think I want to just make sure that's nice and audible for you. SoCal approach, Douglas 514 Delta Victor. SoCal, Douglas 514 Delta Victor. We're on the ground at Palm Springs looking for IFR clearance. Are we on the correct frequency for that?
Delta Victor, contact SoCal
245, 514 Delta Victor. There you go. 50-50 shot, 24-5.
350 Kilo Squawk 4641 Mo Charlie. 4641,
Sim Caesar's here. No TV screens in this plane. No, and no drag required either.
SoCal, good evening. Douglas, November 341 Alpha on the ground at Palm Springs. Request clearance to catch.
Trax is here. Taking a window seat, but brought some bourbon.
November 341 Alpha, SoCal departure, clear to San Diego Airport, Thermal 6 departure. Then as filed, maintain 7000, squawk 4652.
Clear to San Diego Thermal 6, and as filed, maintain 7000, squawk 4652, 341 Alpha.
3141 Alpha, read back correct, expect runway 31 left, advisory taxi.
31 left, we'll call for taxi 41 Alpha.
SoCal, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's at Palm Springs. We have the weather, IFR San Diego.
514 Delta Victor, SoCal departure, clear to San Diego Airport, Thermal 6 departure, then as filed, maintain 7000, squawk 4644.
Alright, we're cleared to San Diego via Thermal 6 departure. We'll maintain 7000, 4644, 514 Delta Victor.
4 Delta Victor, read back correct, expect runway 31 left, advisory taxi.
We'll call any for you expecting 31 left, 514 Delta Victor. Alright, so all of that was more or less as expected, so that's all good. Come back to the checklist page if I can find it. What are we flying today? Oh yeah, the DC-3. Screaming She's going to catch them all. Alright, very good. Let's see. Container clearance, so we'll go ahead and set our squawk, which she just told us was 4644. 4644. Nobody commented on the Freedom Route commercial? Am I too old for y'all? SoCal has arrived. ZLA Nerd is here. Awesome. ZLA Nerd, pleasure to have you with us. I'm assuming I'm talking to you or one of your colleagues right now. Either way, pleasure to have you on stream, sir. So let's see. We got the transponder set. We got it turned on. Nav-aid ADF tuners will be set as needed. Let's see. So what do we need for the thermal? We're departing off of 3-1, so we're going to turn to the 090. We're going to join this Victor 137, which is 116.2 and 124. So let's get the 116.2 and 124 set up yonder. So there's 120, and there's 120 maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure, why not? Close enough. Plus or minus a degree is always pretty much acceptable for slant alpha work. Let's see, what's next? We are good to go ahead and fire this puppy up. So fasten seatbelt lights. Come on, everybody take your seats, please, if you have not already. If you don't have a seat, if you lost the game of musical chairs, find somebody's lap to sit on, please. On the number 1 side, we'll go mix, magnetos, fuel pump, prime it, clear it, and start it. There we go. Fire away, Jet Pilot. Cinnamon's hitting us with the raid. Hey man, hope the event went well tonight. Sorry that I couldn't jump in on that one. I know we're doing one together in a few weeks though, which is going to be awesome. But yeah, man, hope that it went well. ZLA Nerd has just hit the follow button as well, so I appreciate that, brother. All right, so we got fuel pump off and generator on. We presume that I probably should have checked to make sure we had you know, oil pressure and all that before I shut the fuel pump off. But you know, you kind of assume everything's infallible here, the Douglas in X-Plane. Titanium Druid is here. My goodness, we got a full boat. We are going to be overweight on this takeoff. My God, 18 in the group flight tonight. Good gracious, it's probably better that I stayed away then. Nate Aviation hit the subscription button as well. And yeah, you know what they say about assuming. Yes, Crixel, I do. And I often make an ass out of myself, not just because of assumptions, but just in general principle. So it's not something I'm shy about. Let's see. We got the number one. What else are we doing? Oh, we got to sync the headings. What's our mag saying? The mag is saying. It's so hard to read those because it's the opposite of the way you expect. 072, is that what it says? Alright, and then this one's always confusing me too. I probably spun it the long way around. I tend to do that. 07 and 2, there we go. On the top half is the target heading, so we'll just spin that to 0. And the bottom half is the autopilot gyro heading, so we'll spin that to 7-2. Okay. Alright, I think we're set. Now what? Flight control check. We'll have somebody outside the airplane let us know that all flight controls are operating as they should. Is that not centering? The rudders look like it's not quite centering properly. Maybe if... No, it's fine. I'll just get my fat feet off of them. It's fine. Alright, we're good. Flight controls checked. What happened to my checklist? Alright, I think we're ready, guys. We're going to hit the taxi lights, and we'll get this show on the road. The one thing I didn't do, real quick, let's look at a taxi plan. I believe I'm up in this mess up here. What are we? Departing 3-1 left? Okay. I believe I'm in this mess up here, so I'm assuming kind of eastbound Golf, and then Whiskey Alpha GWA, I'm assuming is what's going to happen here. Sodia says, oh Jesus, what did you get yourself into now? Okay, one of you on the ground, go to 123 and give me a radio check. Justin, yeah, take care of that for you real quick. .0. 5 and 4 Delta Victor radio check.
286 Alpha Charlie, can you hear me?
5 by 5, brother.
Thank you, I was having a problem getting in trouble with SoCal. Appreciate it.
24-5. Is that what 24-5? Is that what we were just on? I guess I should have maybe made a note of that. 24. I think it was 24-5. Yeah, okay, good. Alright, and I gotta make sure not to quash this little sucker that's right in front of me. I don't know what that is. But, let's get rolling. Move my mix levers up to match what's in the software. Already got the taxi light on. Oh, we gotta go flaps 1 also. There we go. And I think the airplane sounds are at a better level. You guys are hearing the airplane pretty well, aren't you?
Charlie, Palm Springs, Florida, San Diego.
Yes. Seems like the levels are pretty good.
Charlie, SoCal departure, Airport, Thermal.
Magnetic compass is held up with bungee cords, and it's modeled after a real-world DC-3, in which that's how they do it, and it just helps the thing not bob and weave around so much in turbulence. So it helps it be a little bit more readable when the airplane's bouncing around. Of course, it's the bobbing and weaving is not well simulated in X-Plane. It reads pretty steadily.
SoCal approach, Boeing 8 Echo. Looks like dispatch gave us the wrong flight plan. We're gonna have to go to LX.
Kitty Monster's here. My goodness, the crowd continues to assemble. I guess I better be on my game tonight. That calls for one and only thing that can help save the day.
November Straight Echo, clear to Los Angeles Airport via present position direct Candy direct, maintain 10,000.
Present position direct, Candy direct, maintain 10,000, Boeing Echo.
Present Echo, be back correct.
SoCal Douglas 514 Delta Victor, we're ready to taxi in Palm Springs.
Number 4 Delta Victor, runway 31 left, taxi via Whiskey Alpha.
31 left, you have Whiskey Alpha 514 Delta Victor. Alright, so he eliminated golf, but it's pretty much assumed that we're coming off the ramp at golf. So there we go.
And the Douglas 341 Alpha is also ready for taxi at Palm Springs.
Number 341 Alpha, runway 31 left, taxi via Whiskey Alpha, follow the other DC-3.
Okay, Whiskey Alpha, we will follow the fellow DC-3, November 341 Alpha.
Now, the question is, are the airplane sounds too loud now? You guys still hearing okay? Yeah, Eli Hysteria is asking, how am I feeling? Yeah, I was a wreck this weekend, dude. And whatever I caught was just coming on Friday night, and it completely wrecked me over the weekend. I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling much better. I'm still probably going to have to mute the mic on at least one occasion just to clear myself out. What is that? I can't tell who that is or if he's holding for me. Northwest Orient should be showing up as a DC-3 to me. At least he was. Fordman 98 is on the channel. I'll let that one slide. Okay, we're all right with that. I'm not going to open that can of worms, but welcome to the stream, buddy. Yeah, I thought you were Northwest Orient. This looks to be another tail dragger over here, but I know that I have a good CSL for the DC-3, so I don't know what that is. All right, let's get this thing rolling. But yeah, anyway, so I very well might have to clear the throat out at least once or twice tonight. I will do my best to do that off mic. No promises. But yeah, I'm 80 to 90% better than I was Friday. And thank you for asking, Eli. I appreciate that, man. And Kenny asks, is it okay? Hang on, I'm trying to stay on the taxiway while I read this. Kenny says, is it okay to hold the brakes on initial touchdown on a tail dragger? It seems to keep it from bouncing as high. The only thing, Kenny, is you don't want to be too heavy on the brakes because it's all on the. It's like, imagine you're riding a bicycle and you go to stop and you use nothing but the front brake on the bike. You're going to pitch over forward. Same thing's going to happen to you in that tail dragger if you hit the brakes hard, because the braking action's all in front of the center of gravity. So you hit the brakes hard on a tail dragger on the touchdown, it's going to pitch over forward just like a bike would. Now watch. I'm going to demonstrate that right now as a matter of fact, hopefully without breaking anything. But I'm just going to slam the brakes on just for a second and watch the nose dip down. Ready? 1, 2. Yeah, see how it did that? If I exaggerate that, I could actually, tip the whole thing over forward, but I'm really trying not to break anything as I taxi out. Speaking of taxi out, there's a handful of things I need to be doing in this aircraft as I taxi out that I probably shouldn't neglect. Hydro pressure's good. We'll get the cows into trail mode. And who was it that said vibration dampeners? Yes, that's exactly right. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. But whoever said that the bungee cords are vibration dampeners, yes, that's probably the more concise way to say it. But Lord knows I never choose the concise way to say things. Cows Trail, no smoking sign can come on. That lets our cabin crew know that departure is imminent. And then we'll do our run up here. Manifold pressure to 30. Mag check. Left down 1. Left down 2. Back up. Right down 1. Right down 2. Back up.
SoCal, good evening. Southwest 190.
Props down once.
Flight level 270, Hollywood 1.
Twice.
We have golf. Southwest 196, SoCal, good evening.
And 3 times a charm.
4744, Southwest 196.
And we'll put that back to idle.
SoCal, Amber 286, Alpha Charlie, ready for...
Good evening, that's a strobe light. That's your anti-collision light is your strobe light. I'm about to hit that as soon as we get clearance to enter the runway.
Yeah, 6 Alpha Charlie.
SoCal Douglas 5 and 4 Delta Victor, short of 3-1 at Palm Springs, ready to go.
4 Delta Victor with 2307, runway 31 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 3-1 left, 5 and 4 Delta Victor. Alright, so away we go. Anti-collision. Landing light on, taxi light off. Pitot heat on.
Runway 31 left, 34
And fuel pumps.
Southwest 196, center contact 200 miles east of Pettis intersection. This would be the Hollywood 1 arrival, cleared ILS runway 24 right approach. Send via the Hollywood 1 and cleared ILS 24 right, Southwest 196.
Oh, anti-collusion, yeah, so that just it turns off your crew resource management with your co-pilot. Was that the joke? Yeah, I missed it. I'm sorry. Takeoff's a busy time, my brother. I'm not always as quick on the uptake on the jokes. Alright, engines are responding normally and symmetrically. Temps and pressures all look golden. Let's set our takeoff power and get out of here. 45 on the manifold pressure coming at you. And there she be. And on the flaps 1 departure, the tail's going to go flying on its own. It's going to hold the level attitude. Plane's going to lift off the runway just all by itself. Normally you don't do a flaps 1 on anything but a short field, but I just prefer the way the plane handles in that situation, so that's the way I do it. Gear can come up. And there they are. We get through 400, we'll pull the flaps up. And we'll start that turn to 090 per the departure procedure. Alright, there's our 400. Flaps are up. And again, it's a 0. 5 and 4 Delta Victor, yep, we're through 1,100 going to 10,000. And we need to go ahead and reduce to the climb power now, 25 and 40. And we can get the fuel pumps off. That's those two.
Runway 31 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 31 left, 34 now.
This is Alpha Charlie, runway 31 left, line up away.
Roll out on that 090 heading.
Wait, 6 Alpha Charlie.
And still got to get that nose down and get that airspeed up. Run through the departure checklist, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Flaps up, fuel pumps off. Yeah, we are good. So I do want to see 25 and 40 is, and we can bump the throttle up to make sure we're getting that full 40 there. You never want your 40 not to be full. That's a ripoff. Alright, but as much as we want to climb aggressively because of those rocks, we got to make sure that we're not pitching up too high that we lose airspeed. You want that airspeed right on that yellow mark there. And you don't control that with throttle. You set the throttle to your manufacturer's recommended climb, which is 25 and 40, at least as far as I'm concerned. My SOPs say 25 and 40 for climb.
For 1 Alpha, radar contact, climbing chain, lift your
and then you control the airspeed by how aggressively you pitch up. I Fly Planes kind of is here. I think I recognize you. I think you're part of the Virtual USA Flying Club, if I remember correctly. Pleasure to have you aboard with us, sir. Yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember. I couldn't place the name with the handle, but I knew you were part of that Virtual USA. So good to see you here, my friend.
41 SoCal departure, squawk 7055.
Nate Aviation asks, do you have an autopilot? I do.
41 RNS Docker, runway 25.
I am not using it at the moment. So the old school Sperry autopilot is here. It's kind of sort of modeled in this aircraft. The modern autopilot controls are down here. So I will flip those on at some point, but right now I'm hand flying. And this is a pretty stable airplane. I mean, I guess it's pretty close to how the real one flew. Obviously, I've never flown one. I've never flown anything for real. But by all accounts, it handles so tame, just like the real thing did and does. There are some of these still flying. We are 090 heading, and we're joining this 124 radial outbound. Let me get that departure procedure back up in front of me so I can show you. This 124, I'm sorry, actually inbound to thermal. You can see from the VOR gauge that we're almost on that, so we'll start a gentle turn to 124 to intercept that radial. You can see this is giving us a direct bearing to that VOR station, so that'll help us.
Alpha traffic 11 o'clock, 3 miles same direction, DC-3, climbing your 4,300.
Yeah, we have them in sight. We maintain visual separation. 341 Alpha.
341 Alpha, thanks. Search Alpha Charlie radar contact, climb maintain 10,000. Up to 10,000.
Yeah, so Eli Hysteria, I did kind of go through it pretty quickly, didn't I? I'll bring it back over here in just a sec. Well, actually, let's do this.
At 41 radar contact, climb maintain 13,000.
So we took off 3-1. We turned to a 090 heading. We joined the 124 radial of the 116.2 thermal VOR. So we're here. In order for us to continue this way, we've got to be at, I think, 9,000. If we're not, then we'll join, this teardrop turn here, and we'll continue to do loops until we're at 9,000. I'll check the MEA on this route. I think it's 9,000. But we may well be there by that point. We'll see. Yeah, all right. While doing my little doodling, I was kind of not keeping the wings level. I'm going to push the manifold pressure up back to 40, although I think now that we're through 4,000 feet, I want to actually reduce to extended climb, and that is 24 and 37. So I'm going to pull the RPMs down just a touch and manifold pressure down just a touch. 24 and 37 there. And we'll get the no smoking sign off. That is our crew signal so that we can begin beverage service and whatever all else y'all are having back there for snacks and drinks. Seatbelt sign is still lit, so please remain seated, but definitely start harassing your flight attendant for whatever it is you want to eat or drink. I haven't seen downwind sim, so I don't think we got pie today. We do have 10 miles until we get to that DME, into that thermal VOR. Let's go back over here to Sky Vector and see what the situation is. On the outbound side of thermal, going south and westbound, yeah, it's 9,000 there. So even though we're going to 10, we can proceed on that radial.
Hello, emergency
if we're at least at 9.
Here in San Diego, approaching runway 27. 229 heavy, SoCal departure, runway 27 for takeoff, wind variable at 3.
Flight for takeoff, runway 27, Emirates 229 heavy.
Alright, let's keep the nose up a touch. 24 and 37. Alright. Looks like we're tracking okay. Correcting a little bit to the, correcting a little bit to the left. Inchworm 426 is here, says, wow, there's somebody flying a plane with real round engines. Yeah, I'm hand flying it too. I'm not using the autopilot either. Pleasure to have you here, Inchworm. Hope that you'll stop back and see us again. Mostly general aviation on this stream. Beach Baron and the Douglas DC-3 would be my two primaries. Occasionally I'll grab the Citation 2, do a little bizjet flying, although obviously we don't do that with radio navigation. Slant Alpha means with radio navigation only, by the way, in case you weren't aware. So we do most of this through old school VORs and analog ILSs and that sort of thing. Every now and then I will break out an airliner just to change it up a little bit, but for the most part it's general aviation and radio navigation. So hope that you will stop back and see us again, man. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. I fly planes kind of says, funny story, I told my instructor I learned how to use VORs and he was pumped. Yeah, even for your general PPL, it's definitely a good skill to have. And of course, like I said, I'm not a real world pilot at all, so I can't really speak for it, but I just know that it's always good to have an extra tool in your arsenal when you need it. Alright, so we're not going to be at 9 or 1,000. We need to go ahead and join this hold here at Thermal. That means as we cross it, and we get it to 289 inbound and 109 outbound. So I'm going to go 30 degrees left of that, which 109, 10, I need 779, and then we'll turn back in for the hold. I didn't mean to close that. I meant to close the frickin' drawing. Alright, well let's open up the charts again. Open up. Alright, we'll maintain 9 or 1,000. We're entering the hold now at Thermal. 514 Delta Victor.
So approach Emirates 229 heavy, 5,000 for 10,000.
Alright, so we
Heavy radar contact.
get over the get over Thermal, and then we'll turn to a 079er. Just get back.
Startup departure, American 636, runway 25 right, ready for departure.
American 636, SoCal departure, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, RNAV Docker.
RNAV dot bang, clear for departure, American.
Okay, so we're passing over the VOR now. You can see it's kind of, we're chasing it. So at this point, I'm just going to turn to that 079er. Again, it's 30 degrees offset from the outbound heading of 109. So basically, we'll say 8. Put it right on the 8. That's close enough. We're going to count for 1 minute. We see the second hand just past the 5 there on the clock over on the left-hand side.
50 kilo runway 31 right, clear to land, wind 2307. Clear to land 31 right, 35.
Alright, not been really holding this heading too well as I'm trying to pull the charts back up. Thermal 6, there we are, okay. Alright, got that over on the side screen. Now I can clearly see what I'm screwing up. Second hand is, oh, let's get down to our 9,000. We got a lot going on. We're leveling off. We're starting the hold turn. We have a ton of fun stuff going on. Rejoining that on a 289. Let's get that spun around. Let's just make sure we get that set there. Okay, there's our 289.
36, better contact, climb maintain 13,000.
13,000 American 636.
Get back down to... now that we're at 9,000, we can proceed. So once we get back to thermal... And let's get to our cruise power, by the way, 23 and 34. And now we're below. Yeah, I got just too much going on. Not multitasking well right now. And I'm completely falling behind in the chat. Just bear with me on that, guys. So this is about the sloppiest hole you'll have ever seen at thermal. We'll check the ground track later. It's going to be an absolute mess. We want to get back to this inbound to 289.
American 636, Radar 7, terminator frequency change approved, yeah.
And back up to that 9,000.
Thank you very much. We'll see you later.
Get the seatbelt signs off and the cowls closed. Alright, so cruise checklist is complete. Alright, back down to 9,000 now, and we're back on that 289 inbound. Overshooting that 289 inbound. Alright, and the outbound from thermal is a 203.
Left outbound, cross 24 left, ground point 75, south 196, good night.
So we'll go ahead and set that now, 203. Three. Alright. And get back up to 9,000. And looks like I need to correct to the right to get back on that 203. Alright, so that's about the sloppiest procedural flying you're going to see in a while. We'll take a look at it on the ground track in just a moment, just so I can show you exactly what I messed up there. Because why not? We are maintaining 9,000. And that 203, you can see that VOR needle now starting to come in. So now we can join that 203 outbound. watch our altitude again. Alright, I'm starting to get it stable. Once I've got it stable, we'll hand it over to auto, and that'll help us kind of focus on our navigation plan. And I'll catch up with the chat messages as well. There's 9,000. Let's let auto have the altitude. Autopilot and level. Not going to have him lock onto that that outbound radial just yet. What is our navigation plan? It's 36 miles out. So we'll go 18 out from Thermal and then 18 into Julian. Alright, I'm going to take a moment to resync headings. We got about a 213 there. Got about a 213 there. And about a 213 there, okay. 215, 215. 215, okay. Alright, and then navigation line is just about to come in, it looks like.
Number 229 heading across, you'll be set to maintain 7,000.
We're going to go ahead and let auto take it from here as we're pretty much on that radial now. So we'll let auto do that. You know, actually, we won't let auto do that because we're only going, what, 18 miles out and then 18 miles in?
We can do the visual to 27. We're not trying to show off like the other guy.
Alright. Let's get this spun down to 2-1. We'll put it in heading mode. We're going to tune into the inbound radio of the inbound VOR 114.0. I'm sorry, I got just a very busy cockpit all of a sudden. 114.0, and I told you guys I'd catch up with the chat messages, and I'm making a lie out of myself. 114.0. Inbound radial on that is 0. What does that say? 021. Alright, so there we are. That's a 201. So we'll go a couple clicks down. There's 200 and 201. Okay, so we got to come to the left now to recapture that. I'm not sure how we got that far off course, but we'll get back on it. All right, 14 miles into Julian, and then we're southbound out of Julian on a 170. All right, with that, and let's just make sure Minimum altitude, minimum en route altitude 9,000. Okay, all right. We'll stay at 9,000. Those rocks look kind of close, but I trust that 9,000 will keep us off of them. As soon as that comes back in, we'll let Otto have that. And let me catch up with a couple of the chat messages while we're waiting for that to happen. Inchworm says, should I get out and push? Kitty Monster says that first step's a doozy. Yes, indeed. Dave Rendon says, this is definitely old school nav. Yeah, man, absolutely. That's how we do. That's how we roll. Actually, ailerons is how we roll, but you know what I mean. Nav mode, there we go. So Otto is now tracking us inbound to that Julian VOR automatically. ZL Innard says, still learning Slant Alpha. My brother still is pretty good with it, though. Crixel says, would have done a parallel entry, not a teardrop. Not a big deal. Yeah, as long as you stay on the protected side, you're fine, but I definitely botched that up. Let's take a look at that, actually.
330, that's just final, Emirates 229 heading.
Yeah, that was kind of a sad-looking teardrop, wasn't it? Almost looks like a limp. Never mind what it looks like, but yeah, it didn't look very good. That's the most precise hold I've ever seen at thermal in a DC-3, Sim Caesar. Well, I'm sure that's a pretty low sample size, but thank you for that. Nerd Bark is here. Appreciate seeing you back here, Nerd Bark. It's been a little bit. And Justin C is the one in the E110. All right, with all that being said, I need to mute the mic for just a second, take care of one quick item of personal business. I did mostly stay protected, says Crixel. Yeah, mostly being the keyword. All right, hang on, guys. I'll be right back with you. Look at this gorgeous scenery. Good gracious. All right. Now let's figure out. South of this VOR, we're on 170. So we'll get ready to pop it into heading mode. As soon as it starts to spin. 2-1, just like a 208 maybe. Okay, yep, there goes the VOR, so we'll pop it into heading mode. And the outbound radial that we want to pick up is a 170, so we'll set that over here.
36 Alpha Charlie, 50 right Raya. Direct run.
Alright, we're going to go an extra, just 10 degrees extra to get back on it. Shouldn't need shouldn't need to correct too much because we're very close into the VOR, so small angle correction will do it. Back in the nav mode now and rejoin that radial. Next leg is 53 miles, well wait a minute. No, 22 miles to this point Cano.
41 Alpha, turn right, 0.
Right,
229 at 7,000, requesting lower. Canada 045, SoCal Bridge, welcome, turn right heading 08.
Can you see the E1? Yeah, the E110 out your window. Good question. No idea where he is. Are they ahead of me? No, if he's ahead, I think he's ahead of me. So I don't have the aircraft labels turned on. I prefer to have the realistic view of not having floating numbers in the sky, so I don't have the aircraft labels turned on. We're going to start. I guess I'd like the vectors to the VOR 27 if possible. That's the one I meant. Localizer 27. I'm proud of it. I think I've been saying VOR in the social media all damn week too. This is the one I meant. Anyway, localizer 27, there's no glide slope. All your vertical guidance is based on how far you are and what height you're supposed to be at. At this distance, you're supposed to be at this height. At this distance, you're supposed to be at this height. This distance, you're supposed to be at this height. And so on and so forth. Well, when you have the DME counting down your distance, that's very, very easy to do. It's not very, very easy, but it's relatively straightforward. But when you don't have DME, how do you know when you're at these points? What you do is you tune POGI and you spin the bearing to a 017 and you wait until that needle centers on the nav2, which will be the secondary VOR gauge, which will be down here. And that's how you'll know when that flips from one side to the other. That's how you'll know that that you've passed that point. And then you reset it for the next one, 350, and then 315, and then 304. Looking at these numbers here, by the way. Helps sometimes if I draw it. But you're going to do 116.45. And this bearing gives you that point there. This bearing gives you that point there. This bearing gives you that point there.
For 4 Alpha, it's going to maintain 5,000.
And this bearing gives you that point there.
5,000 for 1 Alpha.
And we'll flip the DME over to nav2 so we don't have the cheat. Okay, so we won't be looking at the information that we shouldn't have. Alright, so we're only going 22 miles out here.
Then it's 2291, SoCal departure, our nav doctor, on Q5 right, clear for takeoff. Our nav doctor, Q5 right, clear for takeoff.
So in 7 miles, he needs to be kind of giving us an instruction. So Kenny says, is there a gauge that shows the intercept radial? Yeah, so when you tune it on nav2, we're going to use this gauge down here. This is your VOR2 gauge. So I'll show you. 6,000, 5 and 4 Delta Victor. Alright, so I'm going to be kind of busy in the cockpit, guys, as we continue forward. I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing.
Emirates 229, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. We are requesting a Mayday. 8 straight vector onto 2 left.
20 and 20. Depart Kano 240, 5 and 4 Delta Victor.
Aircraft time for the emergency, not accepting emergency this time.
Alright, so seatbelt signs. We got 20 and 20. We got a little descent going here through the autopilot.
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is Nick requesting a straight vector to 25 left. We just want vectors to 25 left for November, India, Charlie, Kilo. November, India, Charlie, Kilo, roger, turn left heading 300.
Alright, so, so at 22 miles out, that's when we're at Cano, and he said 240. So let's go ahead and 174,
Confirm it was 260 on the heading.
74, 174. Okay, so we're gonna go 240.
Turn right heading 260.
Right 260 for an Alpha.
For an Alpha, that's going to maintain 4,000.
Down to 4,000.
Heading. And we're going to 6. So, whoops.
So we're going to approach United 69, arresting lower.
Alright, so we're going to start setting up for the approach. It's the, on nav 1's going to be 110.9. 110.9. And DME is going to be on nav 2. Nav 2 is going to be on Poggy 116.45. That first radial is a 017. So there's
Emirates
20,
69, requesting lower.
19, 18, 17. Okay. The other thing we need to be aware of is turn-off direction. Let's... Alright, bear with me, guys.
November 341 Alpha has the field in sight.
Going off on third visual for Charlie 27.
Good visual 2741 Alpha.
Third 6 Alpha Charlie, turn right 250.
Right 650, 6 Charlie.
Third 6 Alpha Charlie, airport crash traffic, 2 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock, 4 miles. Is a 3 at 4,000 westbound.
Airport diagram.
Third 6 Alpha Charlie, turn right 270.
General aviation is on the right side. If we land short enough, we can make the right. If we land long, we'll have to make the left. So if we can make the turn off at Charlie 5 or Charlie 6, that's what we'll do. If we go longer than that, we'll have to go left and taxi back.
Traffic down to 11 o'clock, 4 miles.
Alright, coming up on 6,000. Let's get ready to level it out.
Contact on the traffic still looking kind of innocent a little bit, 6 Charlie.
Turn back to 17, 4,000.
Down to 4,000, 6 Charlie.
So there's
2291, registered terminated.
23 and 32 to maintain level.
$6 correction report, Delta Victor, to maintain 5,000 doing localizer.
5,000 join localizer, 5 Delta Victor.
Traffic inside, 6 Charlie.
Nice.
Trying to follow the traffic, third visual for Charlie 27.
Alright, so 20 and 20.
Clear visual for 27, 6 Charlie.
Forward Alpha, runway 27, third left.
Third left 274 Alpha.
Alright, I'm probably not going to hand fly this because I'm going to be busy enough with the explanation of the points here. Again, apologies if I fall behind on chat messages, guys. I'm just trying to get this done right. So let's see. Missed approach, 275 heading, and then the Mission Bay VOR, which is a third VOR now that we're gonna have to tune 117.8. So we'll have to tune that if we go missed. We don't have a means of tuning that right now since we've got nav 1 and nav 2 already occupied. But we got the frequency, we got the course, It's a 275 course, but that doesn't matter. That's a localizer. It's just going to center in when it centers in anyway. So frequency course, minimums is 680 for a straight in. Let's do a quick METAR. Variable at 3, 10 statute miles, fuel at 95.
Request cross runway 25 left.
271 Heavy, SoCal departure, block 7001, cross runway 25 left, Foxtrot.
Roger, squawk 7001, approach cross runway 25 left, China 3271.
Report observation 3 miles from Vida, cross Vida at above 4,000, clear localizer, runway 27 approach.
Vida at above 4,000, clear for localizer 27, 504 Delta Victor. Alright, and Vida is that point indicated by that 017. So when that bottom left gauge starts to flip, that's when we're coming up on Vida. So I am going to go ahead and start.
China 3271, request cross runway 25 right.
Is that you still having TV full length?
Start pulling the speed down. On 4,000, see cows can go in the trail.
China 271 Heavy, TV full length.
No smoking sign can come on.
China 271.
Yeah, there's Vida.
Heavy, runway 25 right at Foxtrot, clear for takeoff on that.
So the next one is 350. And we need to be descending more. 350. So at 350 we can be at OK, and that's we can be 3,600.
Takeoff performance.
China, Houston, having no problems with camp takeoff clearance, cross runway 25 right, runway 25 right, taxi via Foxtrot Bravo.
Roger, cross runway 25 right.
We need to be descending more quickly. Alright, so we're at that 350, so now we can be at 3,600. The next one is 315. So there's 315 there. And as we get to that 315, we can be at 2,700. So we'll increase the descent, continue the landing checklist.
Okay, right, 1 able, 341 Alpha.
No smoking sign is on, fuel pump's on. And just the flaps in the gear, okay. So when that reference line at 315, we can be at 2,700, correct? Yep, okay. We're coming up on that, so I'm going to shallow the descent slightly.
One Alpha, thanks so much, taxi, parking via Charlie, good night.
Parking
Okay.
via Charlie, 61 Alpha.
Well, we came down a little too quick, maybe. Coming up on 2,700. Okay, now that's centering.
Heavy runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, RNF Docker.
Okay, let's make sure we don't cross below 2.7 before that centers.
271, short code, Bravo 1.
China 271 Heavy runway 25 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 25 right, clear to takeoff, China Cargo 2.
Okay, and then the last point along is the Rebo, which is the 304. So there's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at that point, at Rebo, we can be at what? 2,000. So we can continue our shallow descent here.
Report off the Victor, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land 275 for Delta Victor. All right. So I think we hit the profile. We're at 3. Let's just check.
Number 6, Alpha Charlie, taxi to Park India Charlie, see ya.
We're 6.8 and increasing, 6.9 and increasing from Poggy, but we should be almost coming up on 6.5 on the localizer. Let's check. Yep, getting there.
7 Charlie, monitor ground 123.9. 123.9, 6 Alpha Charlie.
So we've now cross-referenced that we are pretty much at that. Well, it's a half mile off. So we shouldn't be below 2,000 until 6.5 miles out. We have the runway in sight. Oh, yeah, duh. That's pretty much the runway right there. Okay, at this point I'm going to fly it in the rest of the way, kick out of the cockpit, my airplane. Heaven help us, say our last prayers. You can put in some landing rate predictions, guys. We do have a landing stats pop up that will... landing stats pop up that will give us the vertical rate of descent at the moment the wheels touch. You can start putting some predictions in. Bragging rights only for tonight. We do occasionally do giveaways with that, but for tonight, just bragging rights. Good evening. I hope that was helpful to you. It came kind of quickly, but if you if you watch the video back once we get it uploaded to YouTube, hopefully that will help you. I think it's time to get down to our final approach speed. We want to get down to about 85 knots, and we want to get that 4th notch of flaps out. According to the lights, I'm a little low, so let's get that fixed here. Wind's variable at 3, but I do feel like I'm being pushed a little bit to the left. Still a little slow. We should be about 85 knots for about 80. Lights are still saying we're low. You don't want to come in low at San Diego. You get that parking garage right on final. That is that is not an autogen artifact. That parking garage is really there. I haven't seen this version of San Diego, so I don't know how well it's rendered. Actually, it looks like there's some pretty decent detail here. Just like the Mr. X add-on package. Still a couple knots slow. Now we got the white lights. And the reason this is a localizer and not an ILS, by the way, is because of this upsloping terrain on this side of the airport. Localizer signal just wouldn't work. Now, I don't know about those high tension wires. That might be an error. That seems a little unsafe. See if we can make the next right-hand turn off. I think we can. Ooh. Trying not to do a donut in the parking lot.
Good evening. Delta 10-3, would you on the lucky one arrival for San Diego?
Delta 10-40, SoCal Approach I-10.
Not too bad. I didn't see the number, by the way. Somebody's going to have to
Delta 10-40, radar contact.
check that out for me and figure out who our winner was. I completely missed it.
Copy, continue to descend lucky one.
I felt pretty good about it. I feel like it was a good number. But yeah, now let's get the airport diagram. Now let's anti-collision off, no smoking off, landing light off, taxi light on, pitot heat, and fuel pumps off. I think that covers it. Pretty much go right to left on that. And general aviation is all back in this little terminal area as well. 5 and 4 Delta Victor. We're clear 27 general aviation via Charlie, if that's okay.
Report to Major, hold position, contact ground 123.9.
Sorry about that. 123.9. 5 and 4 Delta Victor. San Diego ground, 514 Delta Victors. Charlie, where are we? We're Charlie, short of Charlie 4, going to GA.
November 514 Delta Victor, Lindbergh ground, taxi GA ramp via Charlie.
GA ramp via Charlie, 514 Delta Victor. Sorry about not checking in with you earlier.
It happened.
Our friend Crixel there, by the way. Alright, so yeah, when I turned off there, should have held short Charlie and checked in, so my bad on that. But otherwise, I felt like it was a decent landing. Somebody's, like I said, someone's going to need to fill me in on what the numbers look like. I felt like it was a pretty good one. Let's just make sure I got all the... So we got the flaps stowed. Yeah, we did. Collision, no smoking, landing, taxi, pitot heat, anti-icing, fuel pumps, and CAL's open. That's the one I always forget. That is there. And we'll park over here at Landmark. And then we'll start getting ready for leg 2. Alright, let's get the sucker parked. Taxi light off. Transponder back to 1200 and off. We're going to shut down the number 1 only. We're going to do a one-engine turnaround, guys. So the DC-3 does not have an APU. So what they used to do is they used to let passengers board and disembark on the number 1 side, which is where the door is, while they kept the number 2 running as the APU. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to simulate that one-engine turnaround. Very illegal nowadays. We would never get away with that. So mix and mix magnetos and generator off on that side. Seatbelt signs can now come off. We'll reset the trim, and then we'll check the fuel and the ETA. So the trim, okay, trim goes down here. Now the only thing is, on this version of the DC-3, the doors won't actually open unless we shut the battery switch off, which I don't want to do. So as we go to the outside view here, you'll see that the door's not open. But the number 1 is off, and the number 2 is running, and that, back in the day, back in the 30s, that was a legal way to keep the airplane powered while people got in and out on this side of the aircraft. So if you ever wondered, by the way, why the aviation tradition is to start the number 2 first, that's where it comes from. It's just a legacy from back in the olden day when that used to be the norm. All right, so let me try and catch up with some of the chat messages, guys, and then and the fuel and ETA. I had said 11:29 on the ground, 11:34 on the blocks, and we almost nailed that dead center. The planned end fuel for leg 1 was 1919. Let's see how we did. We got about 100 extra pounds. We'll take it. That is about 5% extra. That's probably our contingency right there. So that's perfect. Okay, if I can scroll back through the... Oh, good. So good evening said, never even realized the other gauge was a VOR2. That changes everything. Does it adjust based on your nav2 frequency? Yes, absolutely. Nerdbark says DC-3s are awesome machines. Crixel said see you soon in the chat, and I didn't even see it, dude. So anyway, good evening says there's always so many gauges I've ignored. Now I know what one of them does. Nice. Okay, so predictions came in. What was the 4-day for me? Welcome back to the stream. I believe I've seen you here once before. Pleasure to have you back here. Ken says pilots get extra points for avoiding the high tension wires. I don't know if I avoided them or not. And apparently Inchworm or Sparker. Yeah, Sparker was closest. 86 is what it was. Nice. I am pleased with that. So yeah, if it was in fact 86, Inchworm had 92. And Sparker had 80, so that splits the difference. Actually, Sparker and Inchworm would split the prize in that case, if that is correct. If 86 is the correct number, then yeah, Sparker and Inchworm would split. Very good, guys, very good. And Jet Pilot Cinnamon put in the shameless plug for the Virtual USA Flying Club. Yeah, definitely check them out if you're VATSIM members and you love general aviation flying, and you want to get in on some group flights. Jet Pilot Cinnamon has organized this club that's well over 160 something members now, maybe even more at this point. I haven't checked recently, but last I checked it was well over 160 members of VATSIM general aviation enthusiasts, and it's basically an attempt to get more general aviation on the network flying. So if you want some good group events with GA planes, definitely give that Discord a check. When you get a moment, he put the Jet Pilot Cinnamon put the link there in the chat for you. Crixel says, I always wonder about the airport diagram versus what the sim shows. Crixel, this is a Mr. X scenery add-on package, and I found it to be pretty accurate. As far as I could tell, I turned off at Charlie 6 and saw everything I was supposed to see. Taxiway all kind of matched up. Let's see if we can get a tower view here. I mean, as far as I can tell, that's a pretty good match for what's on the diagram. So yeah, it depends. Anyway. Is the displaced threshold because of the high tension wires? Sparker, I was always told that the displaced threshold was because of that parking garage. I'm not 100% convinced those high tension wires are actually there. Northwest says there's a newer one on the forums and it looks amazing. Okay. I actually just downloaded this right before we went live, so I don't know if I've got that one or what. But Justin's got to duck out. All right, pleasure having you along, Justin. Appreciate you flying with us, man. Tell you what, give me just a second, clear the throat, and run through the phone, and we'll come back in just a moment, and we'll start leg 2. Alright guys, so at the request of Crixel, we got the view of the final approach coming. You can hear my voice is real raspy, guys. Sorry about that. I'm still kind of recovering from the weekend's illness, so I apologize for that. Crixel says we do have one on about a 15-mile final, so I've got the approach frequency dialed in on COM2, so hopefully we'll be able to hear that, and we should be able to watch that plane come in while we do our flight planning for the second leg. Good evening says, looks like there are power lines there, but not tall ones like what was modeled. They're lower than the parking garage. Yeah, I had always heard that the parking garage was the reason for the displaced threshold. So,
Runway 27, clear to land with variable 3.
so that's good to have that confirmation. I appreciate that. Melvin Leroy says, if I can get the turbolet filed up, I'll join you, Catalina. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start getting prepped for that second leg now. Let me go ahead and get that punched into the progress bar up top, right? KSAN. And we're going to, where are we going to? AVX, Catalina. All right. The flight plan for that, let's kind of take a peek at what I had put in for that. Fairly straightforward one. I'm going to keep some of this off screen just for the moment so we can kind of watch this arrival. KSAN to KAVX.
At 421, flatting 070, set to maintain 4,000.
070, 4000, United 421.
And the route is just a very straightforward, and I'm just going to see if I can see this plane on final. Yeah, I think we got him. Here's my tower view. Alright, so real quick, Mission Bay VOR, Victor 27, Santa Catalina. We're going to depart. We're going to pick up Mission Bay, however departure wants us. We're going to fly Victor 27, which comes up here. This is where we'll demonstrate that intersection thing for you. Good evening if you're still with us. So we'll know when we're making that turn from Passive and then westbound into Santa Catalina. So that'll be a good demonstration of that. But yeah, Victor 27 just basically goes straight from Mission Bay to Santa Catalina with that little bend in the road. So it's a pretty straightforward flight plan. Pressure's on, man. Don't mess it up. Justin says it was fun flight. Have not flown the E110 in a long time. Good night, all. Hey, glad you could come along with us, man. I'm gonna mute the mic for just a second here while I hack up another lung. I've got to be running out of those by now. I don't know, what do you call it? What do you guys call it? 8, 8.5? It's pretty good, actually. It's nicely done. Alright. So, let's get back to what we were doing. We need to... Yeah, I gotta get... I'm all discombobulated at this point. Let's get back up to the top of the checklist. And
Delta 1048, Lindbergh ground, taxi the ramp via Bravo. Welcome to San Diego.
get the CompTIA off. Does sound like we got one more coming in. Maybe we'll try and watch that one as well. Go ahead and send the flight plan. So let's get that box over here. We are IFR. We are KSAN to KAVX. Alternate is going to be John Wayne, KSNA. Departure time, we're going to call it 0405 wheels up. Time en route, we're going to call it 038. And fuel available at this point, let's see, is 2 hours and 23 minutes. Cruise speed's the same. We're going to knock it down to 6,000 here. And the route, like I mentioned, was Mission Bay, Victor 27, SXC. All right, we'll let them chew on that while we take a peek and see if we can see the other aircraft coming in yet. Don't see them just yet. Let's go back to tower view. We see them? Anybody seen an airplane around here? No, not yet. All right. Cleared approach hit us with the raid. Hey, cleared approach. Appreciate you sending some new friends our way. Always a pleasure to have that kind of support. So thank you very much for that. We're getting ready to do the second annual trip out to Lover's Cove at Catalina Island. Last year, it became the Catalina Curse. It took us 6 tries due to weather and then other odd transpirings that prevented us from successfully completing a flight to Catalina. This time, 2020, we're hoping to do it on the first try here. We'll see how it goes, though. But it says, anytime, enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks very much. We're in the Douglas DC-3. There we be. Custom Slant Alpha logo, or livery. Thank you very much, Northwest Orient, for that. And cleared approach, just hit the follow button as well. Thanks, man. All right, oh, there's our arrival, too. So we'll check them out while I fumble through the checklist as best as I can. Let's get an updated METAR at San Diego. It's the exact same, so 2901. I don't think I have that set on my altimeter. We'll jump back into the airplane in just a minute. Let's do the tower view. Got some good activity at San Diego here tonight. Uh-oh, don't land it short. Nice. Looking good. Looking good. A little long. Not too bad, though. Nice flare. Nice smooth, yeah, and smooth release of the nose wheel. Very good. Hit the brakes. You're running out of runway. Yeah, you can make that one. Come on, man. Nope. One more. Oh. Will you? Will you? No? One more? Yeah, roll it down. There we go. So yeah, you get that kind of jittery position updating on VATSIM. It's not quite as awkward as that. But yeah, that's just VATSIM only updates position like every 2 seconds. So what you're seeing is the illusion of smooth motion that's interpolated between those position updates. So you get that those weird turns. You know, they look like they're skidding sideways sometimes. That's just a VATSIM thing. But yeah, both of those landings look really, really good. I'm kind of jealous. The last couple airliner landings I did on stream were actually pretty decent. I was pleasantly surprised how well I remembered how to do that stuff. Ground Point Niner's here. Hey, Ground Point Niner, what's going on, bud? I lurked in on your stream a night or two ago. Just didn't want to bother you. You seemed like you were in a moment with some pilots that were less than cooperative. But yeah, man, good to see you here. Pleasure. I'm definitely coming out to Vegas, so I will be seeing you then, and surely we'll be talking in the meantime. Sim Caesars.
Welcome to San Diego. Taxi Bravo to the ramp.
Giving him the big welcome as well.
Bravo to the ramp, Delta 26.
All right, where we leave off, man. Eventually, I'd like to get this thing flying again. Let's go ahead and do that set. Let's get the altimeter set. Some plane spotting. I'm supposed to be flying. 29901 is the. Yeah, I don't think we definitely didn't. That's that right. That might have been the reason for some of the altitude discrepancies at those points. 29901, and the ground elevation is pretty much next to nothing. Yeah, 17 feet. Yep, that's about right. So we'll obtain our clearance. So that's our friend Crixel. And we'll see if they need to make any amendments to our route. Lindbergh ground, Douglas 514 Delta Victors. Got the weather at San Diego, IFR to Catalina.
November 514 Delta Victor, Lindbergh ground. I have your clearance advice ready to copy.
Fire away, 514 Delta Victor.
514 Delta Victor, cleared to Santa Catalina, Mission Bay, Victor 23, Oceanside VOR, Victor 208, Santa Catalina VOR, direct. Climb, maintain 5,000, expect 6,000, 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 124.5, squawk 5762.
All right, if you can give us just the routing again, we have everything else.
Cleared via Mission Bay VOR, Victor 23, Oceanside VOR, Victor 208, Santa Catalina VOR.
All right, cleared to Catalina via Mission Bay, Victor 23, Oceanside, Victor 208, Santa Catalina. Maintain 5,000, expecting 6,010. Departures 124.5 and squawk 5762. 514 Delta Victor.
Readback correct, and apologies. At the end of all of that, it's Santa Catalina direct.
Okay, no problem. Yep, so Victor 28, Santa Catalina direct.
Expect runway 27 for departure. Lindbergh altimeter 29901.
29901, we'll expect 27. We'll call you in a few, 514 Delta Victor. All right, so yeah, we got a little bit of a reroute there. So we'll slug that into Sky Vector.
November 341 Alpha, Lindbergh ground. cleared to Santa Catalina.
Let's check that out. So,
Mission Bay VOR,
not too
Victor
different from what we
23,
did. It's just
Oceanside VOR,
staying up
Victor
over the
208,
coast
Santa
and then
Catalina
turning west. So we
VOR,
actually
direct.
won't be able to demonstrate that turn.
Maintain 5,000.
Okay,
Expect
we'll have to
6,000
demonstrate that
5
another
minutes
way
after
then.
departure. Departure frequency 124.5, squawk 5737.
Yeah, we'll figure out another way to demonstrate that intersection turn there. But that's all right. If ATC needs us on that routing to stay out of other traffic flow, that's fine. We will do that. We will not cause them any problems. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second.
Expect runway 27 for departure.
Expect 274 now.
All right, phew. Really trying not to cough in your ears tonight, guys, but I'm making no promises on that. Melvin says, "Oh boy, no idea what I'm doing, but I'm about to learn. Let's go see." Let's go. Let's go. See what I did there. Good evening says, "No problem. I get it in theory now. At least I know what the gauge does." Okay, very good. Well, I'll tell you what. As we proceed northbound, and we get to this, let's see, where's a good one? As we proceed westbound from Oceanside, we can still triangulate that point passive based on the radial off of the Mission Bay VOR. So we'll still be able to do it, we just won't be making a turn there. So I'll still be able to show you where that point is, not just based on the DME, but based on the intersection. Okay, all right, so that's how we'll do that. What is next? I keep losing my place. We got our clearance. We need to go ahead and set our transponder, which was 5762. Go ahead and get that back on. Come on. Yeah, 5762,
San Diego ground, good evening, November
7. There's Melvin Leroy.
IFR request, Catalina.
November 11816, Lindbergh ground.
All right, 5762.
I have full route clearance for you. Advise ready to copy.
Ready to
And
go.
nav-aid ADF tuners as needed. Let's see.
November 11816, cleared
Mission
to
Bay
Santa
is going to be
Catalina
on
Airport. Mission
117.8.
Bay 293 radial, Victor 27, Santa Catalina direct. Climb, maintain 5,000. Expect 8,000 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 124.5.
117.8, and we're going to be outbound that on
5721.
a 326.
Cleared. Mission Bay 293 radio, Victor 27, Santa Catalina direct. Maintain
So there's
5,000.
320. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right.
450, squawk 5721.
And then we're up to Oceanside, which is,
November 11816, read back correct. Expect runway 27 for departure.
where's the Oceanside
Advise
VOR?
ready for push and start.
Oh, way up there, 115.3.
Runway 27 will call you for push and start. 11816.
115.3. And we're outbound on that we're inbound to that on a 145 is what that says, I believe. So 145 would be a 325. So there's a 320, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so nav tuners, so yeah, nav tuners are all set. I think we're ready to refire the number 1. So everybody back into your seats, please. Seatbelt lights are coming on. Ding. And we'll refire the number 1. So that's mix, magnetos, fuel pump, prime it, clear it, and start it. There she goes. Love that roar. Love it. All right. Oil pressure comes up. We can shut the fuel pump off and get the generator on. We will resync our headings. We're parked at a 056, I guess. What is that? Yeah, about a 056. Well, that's spun way ahead while we were sitting there yapping. set the target heading there to set the target heading there to 0, just so it doesn't distract me.
And ground, November 11816, ready for push and start.
Alright, flight controls, we'll check.
November 11816, push onto Bravo approved. Face east. Oh, southeast.
Okay, good to go. Again, you're really checking the outside control surfaces, but somebody will
maybe I'm misreading
give us the big old thumbs up.
I think I'm over on the air cargo ramp.
Flaps 1.
Affirm. I read that
And-
as taxiway Foxtrot.
And you want us to push on to Bravo?
Oh, apologies. Did I say Bravo? Push on to Foxtrot, facing southeast.
Okay, push to Fox, southeast, November 11816.
Alright, and our taxi plan is a fairly straightforward one, almost literally. We're somewhere in this mess here, and then we're going to basically go east and out. Alright, clear the throat one more time, guys. Again, I'm still recovering from this weekend's illness, so apologies for all the gravelly and gurgly voices that you're hearing tonight. Oh, Crixel, yeah, you're right. I did forget to check the tech route database. So Crixel's pointing out that the route that I was given is what's called a terminal en route control route that is used in the SoCal area. Just a standard set of routes that they use for shorter flights such as this one. So it keeps you out of en route airspace and completely under terminal control of approach and departure and that sort of thing. So that's where the naming comes from. But those are kind of standardized routes, and so that's where that reroute came from that Crixel gave us.
November 11816, transponder mode Charlie, squawk 5721.
Fox Charlie 5721.
Come on, Melvin Leroy, get with it, man. Limber ground, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, we're ready to taxi.
Douglas 514 Delta Victor, runway 27, taxi via Charlie.
27 via Charlie, 514 Delta Victor. Let's get this thing turned.
Douglas 341 Alpha, also ready for taxi.
Douglas 341 Alpha, squawk 5737.
Should be good now.
Oh, and squawk mode Charlie, please.
None of y'all got it right tonight, Jesus.
Douglas 314 Alpha, runway 27, taxi via Charlie.
Alright.
Via Charlie.
Taxi out checklist is the check of the hydro pressure, it's good. Flat
Douglas 4
cals
Delta Victor, contact SoCal approach,
can go into
124.5.
trail.
Have a good flight.
24.5, 5 Delta Victor, thanks. Alright, whole short line is up there. Alright, so Cal's going the trail, no smoking light comes on. It lets our cabin crew know that we're just about to go. And we'll do our,
November 11816, runway 27, taxi via Foxtrot Charlie.
27 Foxtrot Charlie, November 11816.
24.5.
40 for 500.
Alright, hold the brakes. Let's do our quick run up. Manifold to 30. Mag check left hand side down 1. Left hand down 2. Right one down 1. Right one down 2. Anyone know how fast this plane is? Melvin Leroy, remind me what you're flying? And the answer from me is no, but for the benefit of anybody else on the stream. And let's...
Roger, descend via the Lucky One, arrival clear for the approach, Delta 500.
cycle the prop lever down 3 times. Cruise is like 186 ground, point niner. There you go.
Roger, 6320 meter contact, 2 miles northeast of Julian, VOR. This heavy to Lucky 1 arrival, cleared approach.
This is via the Lucky 1 arrival, cleared for the approach, 6320, and could we expect 27?
Affirmative, it is 27.
Roger, thank you.
SoCal Douglas 514 Delta Victor, short of 27 at Lindbergh, ready to go.
November 514 Delta Victor, SoCal departure, runway 27, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 27, 514 Delta Victor.
November 8 Echo, descend maintain 2000.
2000, going in.
Alright, taking the runway, we go anti-collision on. Landing lights on, taxi light off, pitot heat on. And fuel pumps on. All temps and pressures look kosher. Twin wasps are responding normally and symmetrically. Manifold pressure 45 coming at you.
Report out the Victor, fly runway heading.
Runway heading, 514 Delta Victor. Kind of what I would have assumed, absent instruction to the contrary, so good to confirm, though. Alright, tail goes flying. We're going to hold the level attitude, and the plane's just going to lift right off for us. That's the beauty of a flaps 1 departure. Not really correct procedure for non-short field in the Douglas, but it's the way I prefer it. Gears coming up. We'll get 400 feet altitude. We'll get the flaps up.
Right 040, 2000 to establish this runway 7, right island, stroke,
And we'll pitch for that 110 knot climb. You see the yellow mark on the airspeed, lower left of your screen. Runway heading is about a 275, so that's where I'm going to try and keep it for now.
Contact, runway 6000.
All right, we're passing 750 for 6,000, 514 Delta Victor. So 25 and 40. There we go. And runway heading until we're told otherwise.
2000, clear direct oceanside, VOR.
Alright, through 2000, then direct oceanside, 514 Delta Victor. Drifting a little off heading there, 275 is what we should be at. Alright, oceanside is what now? Oceanside's at 115.3. 15. Whoops.
Rest 3 for 1 Alpha, fly runway heading, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Alright, we know it's to the right. Let's just start turning to the right.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, still up for 6 out.
Ah!
6, runway 27, on its way.
15, 3. Come on! I just want to turn the knob, please.
Southwest 1904,
Oh my god.
He might be on you to come, I'll get him for you.
There we go, 15-3. God's sake! Alright, let's turn back around to point at it. Let's get the plane back under control. Jesus. 25 and 40 on the manifold pressure. That's your climb power.
Second approach, 6320, we're back.
Direct oceanside means we're pointed straight up toward it. And I think I just bumped the directional gyro, so I'm gonna have to resync the headings in just a second.
Squawk 4661. Squawk 4661. Southwest, 1904.
Alright. Get the nose down, make sure we're at that safe airspeed to climb at 110. Alright, resync the headings now. What is that? About a 332. Yeah, bump that way off there. Alright, there we go. Now, the other thing we can do post takeoff is we can get the fuel pumps off, so there we are.
Operator contact, climb 186000.
Time is maintained 6000, I'm looking for an operator.
Alright, through 4,000 we'll get the no smoking light off. That's our cabin crew signal. So the cabin crew can start coming around with drinks and snacks.
Right label, ground point 75.
Right label, ground point 75, million again.
Melvin Leroy says the cruise, I think, is somewhere between 300 and 400 kilometers per hour. Is that that Russian thing that Agent D7 was talking about? You're cruising at like 25 kopecks or something like that? What else we got? Extended cruise power now 24 and 37. Extended climb power, I should say. I always say extended cruise power when I mean extended climb power. So anytime you hear me say that, just send me a virtual slap in the face.
Contact climb 18. Maintain 8000, 11816.
Alright, so we're coming up. 500 to go. And 24 miles to Oceanside. We're direct Oceanside. We're not on a particular radial. The beauty of that is we can just center that on whatever radial we happen to be finding ourselves on, and we'll just fly that in. Easy enough. So we'll let Otto take care of that as soon as we get up to our cruise of 6. And that'll help me start looking at the rest of the navigation plan and catch up with chat messages.
Passing Oceanside, direct to Santa Catalina, 11816.
So there's 6. Let's go ahead and...
I'm closing on you guys, but I'm closing at 10.
You're going to miss all the fun. I gotcha.
Yeah, I'd have to get someone else on here if they didn't want to.
It's all good, brother. Thanks for the ATC. Let's get this thing leveled out at 6. Cruise power is 23 and 34.
Telephone 04, runway 27, third away. And clear left southwest 1904. Southwest 66. 6320, runway 27 for your land.
Do you mean Alaska 6320?
Affirmative, 6320.
Roger, 6320, clear to land 27.
Somebody 6320, you know who you are. Alright, so we got it more or less leveled at 6. We got it more or less flying that radial indirect. Let's go ahead and let auto have it, shall we? Autopilot, level, and nav mode. Let's make sure I got all those. Yep, okay. Auto likes to do these radical corrections to flesh out the millimeter of variation on that VOR gauge. So hopefully y'all still had your seatbelts on, but we can go ahead and cut them off now. Alright. Where are we at now? 18 miles from Oceanside. And again, we probably came out without looking at the gauge to see. So what happened was we departed from San Diego, we went out over the ocean, and then we went direct Oceanside. So we're actually probably not too far off what I originally filed. I don't know exactly what radial we are on. We can look at the gauge and see. It doesn't really matter. If we flew out here and we go direct Oceanside, it doesn't matter. From wherever we wound up, when we go direct Oceanside, it doesn't matter what radial we're on. We just center the gauge on wherever we happen to be, and that's the radial that you follow in. Now, that's what proceed direct means. Direct from wherever you happen to wind up. Am I holding you guys up again? Titanium's got to bail. Appreciate you being here, man. Crixel says the L410 had to be given a different altitude and routing.
Delta 500, welcome to Lindbergh, exit left table without delay, traffic 1 mile final.
And not expecting the DC-3 to end up as PQ. I'm not sure what PQ means, Crixel. Might be a ZLA lingo thing that I'm not aware of.
That's 4670 on short, 24 left.
4670, so got a departure.
I'm assuming that's some sort of a sequencing notation, but we don't use that notation in the DEC, so not familiar with it. Alright.
And over to ground for 500.
So Oceanside, and then out to the west, we'll demonstrate how to navigate to this point, or how to triangulate this point passive, just for the exercise of it, and then we'll start briefing our arrival into Catalina. Just to start preparing early, let's go ahead and pull a METAR observation in the destination, KAVX. 10 statute miles clear. That's the best news ever. 2992, so that's pretty close to what we're already dialed in on. 290 at Niner, and it's at runway 22 is the kind of the primary preferred runway there, so that works out well for us. Going to be a slight right to left, actually a pretty substantial right to left crosswind, 9 knots and 70 degrees offset, so we'll have a little bit of a right crosswind to contend with. Not too bad though, but the 10 statute miles and clear is very, very good news. Means that we should be able to complete this flight successfully. Knock on wood, I guess I should say. The curse comes in many forms, so as we learned last year.
Coming to 130, left turn 190 to 4670.
Number 4670, when able to direct Mission Bay VOR.
Mission Bay VOR, direct, Delta 4670.
Coming up on that Oceanside VOR now, 8 miles out, so let's get ready to make that westbound turn. I'm going to go ahead and resync headings just in case I've messed them up somehow, because that happens.
Good evening, Southwest 1380.
Happens often enough. They do drift out on their own, but I always tend to bump them too. So 339, is that what that says? 339 there. And 338 or 9 there. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Ground 123.9, have a good one, my friend.
Yeah, we got some weird frame rate fluctuations there, but we see that everything's stabilized and X-Pilot has canceled our disconnect, so everything's good. I think that was just a scenery load there. It just got stuttery for a second, and then it rectified itself, so we're good. And SoCal is now closed, so we're going to go ahead and pop that back over to 22.8. And there we be. All right. I'm going to take a pause here to decongest for just a second, guys. And again, for those of you joining late, I'm still kind of recovering from some sort of a mystical, not coronavirus, but definitely some sort of alcoholic beverage virus that hit me over the weekend. Still kind of getting myself back on my feet from, so sit tight while I decongest. We'll get ready to make this westbound turn and be right back with you. Ground point that, yeah, at least it's not an abscess tooth. I feel for you, brother. Some of the pictures have looked rather horrendous, and I'm chuckling, and I hope that you know I'm not chuckling at your pain, but just in sympathy, man. You're going through some stuff, and I hope that it resolves itself quickly, because it looks absolutely miserable. Dentist tomorrow and the specialist next Monday. Not looking pretty. My God. I'm really sorry, man. Thoughts and prayers, brother. Thoughts and prayers. Alright, let's get ready to go ahead and turn west. We're going outbound on a 264. Go ahead and pop it in the heading mode there and let auto make that turn for us. Yeah, ground point niner, I've caught part of your stream. I think it was probably the beginning of your stream where you were saying, like, I'm still in horrendous pain, I'm still swollen, it kind of hurts to talk, I can't open my mouth all the way, but I'm just so bored not controlling. I have nothing to do. I can't go out and do anything. I'm just so bored sitting here. I gotta just get on and do some controlling anyway. So yeah, man, I can't even imagine. I got knocked on my ass this weekend by just one of those just horrendous stomach bugs, but you know, over and done with within a couple days, and I'll probably have a cough for the rest of the week, but I'll be good after that. So I can't even begin to imagine what you're dealing with, brother. But like I said, I'll definitely keep you in my thoughts and prayers, man. It's doesn't seem like it's any fun whatsoever. We're trying to join an outbound radio of 264. I don't think I tuned that on the OBS here, so let's get that done. 27, so there's 260. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like we turned it a little short maybe, so I'm going to come back to the right by about 10 degrees or thereabouts to rejoin that radial. So ground point niner says, yeah, pretty much exactly the case. Going to see if I can get a new round of antibiotics, and hoping the news isn't going to be next week. Hey, we need to do some sort of massive surgery. Oh my God. Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Keep us posted. You know the community's behind you when we're when we're all going, oh my gosh, when are you going to stream? I'm so sorry to hear about your pain and all that. When are you coming back to streaming? Just goes to show how meaningful you are to this community, brother. So, fingers crossed. And I'm still hacking up a lung. I'm on borrowed lungs at this point, as many as I've hacked up in the last couple days. Hang on a second, guys. It's just that cough that just will not clear no matter what you do. God. Yeah, Kung Flu. Yeah, something like that. It definitely kicked my ass, that's for sure. Kenny Monster says, I just got off the phone with my mom. You want to talk about pain? We're not going to turn this into our your mom conversation, although I was tempted. .8, 8.9. We're still not intercepting that radial. I can't believe I turned it that short. Let's put in a little bit more of an aggressive correction and get back on that. And once we're 17 miles out, alright, so let's do this. If we tune nav 2 to 117.8 and a 304, I'm going to do this quick, but then I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. 117.8 and a 304. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's coming in already. Okay, so now we're starting to get back on that radial. We're coming into both of them. Alright, so now that we are just about to intercept the outbound 264, here's what we got going on. Let me draw this off screen. Go ahead and let Auto take that. So as we're tracking out this 264 on Oceanside 115.3, we can see that if we go 8 miles and then another 9 miles, we're going to be at this point called passive. Also here, 17, so you don't even have to do the math. Screw that. We just have that reference right there. 17 miles to passive. At that same time, this 308, which is off screen, but we did see that it was 308 off of the Mission Bay VOR, should center at the same time that we pass that 17. It's pretty darn close. Look, we're at 15 and it's almost centered. Almost there. Almost there. Stay on target. Alright, so that's it. It's just the VOR gauge, and remember, it doesn't know anything about any of these radials. Anything you tune, every VOR has 360 radials, actually has an infinite number of radials. In the sim, those radial knobs move 1 whole degree at a time, and in reality they're a continuous knob, like an old school, AM, FM radio, clock radio tuner. But in the sim world, there's 360 radials on each VOR, and you can tune any radial off of any VOR, and it's going to kind of give you guidance to that path, whether it's a charted airway or not. There's the 17, and there's the VOR, probably a degree off. Sometimes these gauges are hard to tell whether it's exactly on or 1 degree off, but yeah. So there you go. That one's centered. That one's centered. We're 17 miles out from that one, and let's see, just for S's and G's, 41 miles out from that one. Let's see if that matches up. All kinds of beeping going on. I'll check on that stream activity in just a moment. 13 and up 40. It says 40 miles, 40.0. So yeah, pretty darn close. I mean, 42 now. So yeah, good evening if you're still with us. Hopefully you were able to see that demonstration and kind of have a sense of how those VOR gauges work. And again, the intersection is literally just where two radials cross. You tune two radials at one time. Got traffic ahead? Yeah, man. Got another DC-3 up there. Alright, so let's catch up with some of the stream activity. Duluth Fly brought us in with a party of 5. Appreciate the raid, Duluth Fly. Nick Restless here, and Brian Grant is here. Kenny Monsters welcoming the raid. Nick Restless says it's DC-3. Yep, absolutely. And Duluth Fly hit the follow button, and Brian Grant hit the follow button. And good evening is confirming, yep, cat, do not... cat on rudder pedal, not good. Says, yes, I'm going to use that all the time now. All right, hey, yeah, definitely hit me up. Good evening if you have any other questions or anything else that you need to see for an explanation. So happy to help however I can. We are coming up on Catalina. We're going to do we need to do, I have pretty much got VMC here. So you know what, I'm going to do a visual entry to 2.2. Let's figure out what that's going to look like. We're going to cancel our IFR, although we don't have any controllers to cancel it with. But the 2.2 kind of goes that way. It's a right pattern to 2.2. Well, actually, how do I show that? Go to the VFR. Alright, so it's a right pattern to runway 2.2. We saw the wind earlier saying that it was 2.7 or 2.8, something like that. So 2.2 is our preferred runway. Right pattern to 2.2 means right downwind, right base, and final. So we can overfly it along the island, and then we'll do a join. The pattern altitude is 2,600. Overflight then would be at 3,100. 500 above traffic pattern altitude. Now we just got to be careful, make sure that 3,100 is indeed above any of the terrain on that side of the island. So I think we'll be okay though. So 3,100. And I think it's time to kick auto out of the cockpit. Let's go ahead and squawk VFR. And my airplane, like it or not, you can't have it, my airplane. We'll come over here behind Northwest Orient. Also means we probably need to slow down a little bit. So 20 and 20, we'll get the seatbelt lights on. Cowls can go into trail. We should try and keep sight of the other DC-3 there if we can, just to maintain separation. Kind of lost sight of him. Oh well. Probably above us. Where are you, man? Alright, well, we'll do this. Catalina traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, is about 5 miles southeast of the island, descending through 5,000 for 3,100. We're going to overfly the island southeast to northwest, then join a right pattern to runway 22 Catalina. So descending, and we're also going to slow it down too, just to make sure that we give enough space for the other DC-3. I lost sight of him. I know he was ahead of me.
Catalina traffic, Douglas November 341 Alpha, descending through 4,900, approximately 15 miles east of the VOR, descending to 3,100. We're going to overfly the field, enter a right downwind following the other DC-3, inbound runway 22, Catalina traffic.
Alright, so he's...
Catalina traffic, November 11816. We are...
He says he's following me.
Southwest of the airfield at 164 meters. We will also be right and pattern for runway 22.
Yeah, the VOR frequency I think changed at one point recently. SkyVector has it at 114.15, and I've got that tuned in, and it's not coming up for me, and I know that it recently changed. I don't remember what it was before, though. That's the problem. You know what? At this point, I am going to employ one sheet here. 111.4, okay. So yeah, obviously in the real world you wouldn't have to do that. But yeah, you can see that the VOR frequency changed, 114.15, but my sim apparently isn't updated for that, so that's why I had to do that little cheat there, guys. Hope you'll forgive me. SkyVector for me still says 111.4, says Northwest Orient. You guys are seeing that, right? I mean, I'm not making that up. That's bizarre. But yeah, so we're 15 miles southeast of the VOR still. I'm going to put some speed back in. We don't need to be going this slow just yet. Holding up the line of traffic behind us. Oh, IFR low en route isn't updated yet. Gotcha. Oh yeah, you're right. 111.4. Alright, so if the runway heading's at 22, then we're going to be on a 90 degree when the bearing to it is a 3-1. So I'm going to come a little bit to the left so we can do more of a perpendicular flyover here. Still trying to get down to 3,100 feet. Dave Rendon, did he say meters? He's flying some Russian thing. Who knows what units that's in? I think it's in rubles. I'm at 2,800 rubles.
is Agent Bravo 7 when you need her.
Exactly.
Catalina traffic. November 11816 is going to be making a right 360 for spacing, and then we'll join in number 3 behind the DC-3 in Catalina.
I'm so sorry, guys. I tried to grab for the mic switch. I couldn't reach it. Alright, but we're pretty much on that perpendicular now. We're going to go ahead and overfly the field. The Catalina traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor is 9 miles southeast of the VOR now, inbound for the midfield flyover southeast to northwest. We'll join a right downwind for runway 22 Catalina. I didn't say my altitude. Midfield flyover is pretty much assumed to be at traffic pattern altitude plus 500. So.
Delta Victor 11816. I think we're pretty close to you. We're going to go ahead and hang a left here and get back in for space. We're at 4,300.
Alright. The other thing to note is that the VOR is not exactly at the airfield, according to that map. So if I overfly the VOR, I'm not actually overflying midfield. So I'm going to aim a little bit to the right. Pretty sure that the airport is kind of right on that little peninsula there, that little, right before the little narrow part of the island. Did the no smoking sign? Yeah, no smoking sign can come on as we're commencing our approach now. I think I already got the cows into the trail. Fuel pumps can come back on. And there's about 3,100, so we'll level it out there. We'll overfly the field. We'll count for about 1 minute, and then we'll start the right-hand pattern. Let's not drop too much below that 3,100. Hard to imagine there's a spot flat enough to put an airport on here, is there? Isn't it? Although that looks like it, maybe right there. Yeah, I would say that is it. So let's adjust course and hit midfield. And again, we kind of want to make sure it's lower than about 3,100. Checking for other traffic in the pattern, don't see any. Alright, Catalina, we'll see you soon. And then Lover's Cove is down there, I think. That's where the honeymoon will be. Alright, so we'll count for about 1 minute. Catalina traffic bear, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's overflying midfield, 3,100. southwest to northeast, and then we'll enter a right downwind runway 22 Catalina. Yeah, I said 1 minute and probably more like 30 seconds. 120 knots, that's a mile and half a minute. Alright, so let's start getting speed now. Let's start a gentle descent to about 2600. Downwind heading is 040. Oops, 2600 I said.
Catalina traffic, Douglas 341 Alpha is overflying the field. We're going to be following the other DC-3, entering a right downwind for runway 22, Catalina traffic.
So there's a 040 heading. Let's see if we can spot the, yeah, okay, we're good. We're slow though, we're very slow. Get some flaps out, but we're gonna add some power back in. Alright, base heading is a 130. Flaps 2 in gear, still slow. Catalina traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's turning right base, runway 22 Catalina. I want to turn it into, yeah, let's get this thing lined up. And remember, it's a right to left crosswind, so don't turn too late because I'm going to get pushed to the left anyway. Alright guys, landing rate predictions. I forgot to solicit them when I entered the pattern, but landing rate predictions, if you want to throw them into the chat, just a number into the chat will be fine. No specific bot command or format. Real quick though, but number just in terms of vertical feet per minute descent rate as the wheels touch. And
Catalina traffic,
get
Douglas
those in
341 Alpha is on a right downwind for runway
nice and quick.
22, Catalina traffic.
Alright, flaps are set in check, gears green, runway appears clear, and tensions have been announced. Catalina traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's on about a mile and a half final, runway 22 Catalina. So, all that remains is to, yeah, and it did overshoot the turn a little bit. Good on the 85 knot final. Just get the crosswind corrected. Yeah, it's hard to see the runway right behind that pedestal. Perfect position not to see it.
Catalina traffic, November 11816, right downwind runway 22 Catalina.
Yeah, it is a pretty substantial right to left. It's going to be interesting, guys. Ooh, that was a tough one, and I bounced it real bad. Oh! Oh, goodness. All right, let's see if we can get it stopped. Yeah, it was awful.
Catalina traffic 341 Alpha is on a right base for 22, Catalina.
That was terrible. Northwest Orient, please do better than that. My God, that was horrific. Catalina traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, and all of his broken backs are clear of runway 22, Catalina. Oh, it was terrible, guys. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Almost makes me want to go do it again. But it's already almost midnight, so I'll have to try it again another day. We did successfully land the plane, though. We did not break anything, as far as we know. 300 feet per minute is firm landing, but it shouldn't have broken anything. These things are durable.
Catalina traffic 41 Alpha base to final for 22, Catalina.
Let's get this thing parked as quickly as we can. Maybe we can watch the other two arrivals. Yeah, ouch, guys. Ouch. I'm not reading the chat right now, but I can only imagine the merciless mocking I am taking right now.
Catalina traffic, November 11816. We're going to extend our downland. Catalina. We see the landing traffic.
Not a bad parking job, actually. So there's Northwest Orient making his way in. I tell you what, he is a hell of a DC-3 pilot. I guarantee you he's going to do it better than I did. Replay for sure. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it, guys. We got to disconnect from VATSIM to do that, so we'll let Northwest Orient and Melvin Leroy make their land. There's the traffic.
Catalina traffic, November 11816. Right-hand base, runway 22, Catalina.
He's actually showing up as a GA plane, too, which is kind of cool. Let's see, what view do we have a better... Yeah, the views are tilted because my plane sits
341 Alpha
nose
on
high.
approximately a 2-mile final for runway 22, Catalina traffic.
Catalina traffic, 11816, turning final runway 22, Catalina.
Real quick, I am going to anti-collision off, no smoking off. Actually, taxi light can now come off as well, P2 heat, and fuel pumps can come off. And we'll go ahead and cut the mix here, magnetos. Northwest Orient, do it better than I did, man. I set a pretty low bar for you. Oh, you're not going to land short, are you? I hope to God that's a scenery elevation difference. Otherwise, that did not look pretty. So now that he's rolling, it's corrected him to be back on the ground. I mean, I'm sure that was a scenery elevation difference. Hopefully that landing looked a lot better from his vantage point than it did from ours. He's probably streaming as Northwest Orient if you want to check it. I probably shouldn't say that because you want to see how a DC-3 should be landed at Catalina. He probably just showed you. And where did Melvin Leroy get to? Gotta be out there somewhere.
Not tonight, unfortunately.
No? Well, that's all good. It makes me feel a little better. I know Melvin Leroy was out there. While he is making his way in, I'm going to just make sure I didn't forget anything here. Flaps.
Catalina traffic, 341 Alpha, it's clear, runway 22.
Oh, I didn't get the flaps stowed. Oh well. Anti-collision light, no smoking lane, lights, taxi, pizza heat, anti-fuel cal. Oh, cal's open. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. Yep. Oh, I did do that, in fact. Taxi light off. Okay, with transponder can come back to off. We can do the seatbelt lights off now. We'll reset the trim. And then real quick, as soon as I get the trim reset, pop back out and see if we can find Melvin Leroy. Where'd he go? There's Mr. Northwest Orient. Oh, there he is. Looks like he might be coming in a touch high.
Catalina 11816 on the go, 22.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Easy to do here, man. Easy to do. Alright. We'll see if we can stay connected long enough to watch attempt number 2. Let me just get back into the airplane. And, yeah, is it even worth going through the predictions? Somebody can tell me what the, 131, 88, 165, 222, Kitty Monster.
11816, right, crosswind 22.
Yeah, Kitty was the big winner. Got a cheer from Grand Boy Niner. Thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Looks like my Corsair landing, says Kitty Monster. The Curse strikes again? Nah, it's a successful landing. It was a little bit of a firm one, but it's a successful. If it don't light your fire, at least your wood's wet. Yeah.
Catalina traffic 11816, right down 122.
Kyle said, I would have suggested to go around. You didn't seem stable on the approach. I was fighting the crosswind for sure. Yep. You're not wrong, Kyle. 4-day for me is kissing the ground. Dave Rendon and Bamsel both want the replay. We'll yeah, we'll check out that replay. Check out that replay in just a few. Let me just run through final checklists here. Fuel and ETA. That's right. So ETA was 11:43 on the ground, 11:43 on the ground, 11:48 on the blocks, and I think we were pretty close to that. I don't know if we landed exactly 10 minutes ago, but it was a little bit. And then I think we can we finished the shut off. Levers can come down. Inverter and radio master. So we're going to lose the audio. Beacon light can come off. And the nav lights, fuel tanks can come off. Cows can go back to close, and then the master battery switch. Alright, so we're going to lose the radios there. Some weird shape artifacts coming from the building here, from the tower view. Maybe that would be better. There's Melvin Leroy. Let's see. Second time's a charm. Still seems a little high. Alright, we're watching, man. Do us proud. Yeah, still some scenery elevation differences there. Again, hopefully it looked better from his vantage point than it did from ours. Oh well. Got it stopped. And I don't know what exactly you're flying, and I don't know if it's a twin turbo high wing, but at least it's matching up to something general aviation, which says that I might have some insights on how to improve the model matching in XPilot that I may share if that turns out to be the case. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and disconnect from VATSIM. Well, actually, let's take just a moment and let Mr. Melvin Leroy pull up so we can get a little group shot here. And then we'll check that replay out, guys. It's an E410. Is that what? That's what he's flying. So yeah, I don't know how close that is to what it looks like, but the CSL looks pretty good. Okay. All right, man, get up here. Let's get our photo on, and then we'll definitely check out that replay. In the meantime, guys, thanks for popping in and checking us out tonight. I don't know how well we dispelled the Catalina Curse, but we're here. We made it. We might all have to take some pain medication to walk away, but we all made it. So the Catalina Curse is foiled. Curses are foiled again, thank goodness. There we go. All right. Everybody lean in and act like you love each other. Say cheese. Alright, there you go, guys. So, yep, and if you're new to the stream, it's mostly a general aviation stream for the most part. We fly a lot of the Beech Baron and a lot of the Douglas DC-3. We do it as much as we can through slant alpha techniques, which means just radio navigation, VORs, and NDBs, and analog ILS gauges and stuff like that. We don't use GPS. We don't use an FMC. Every now and then we'll change it up, and we'll do a flight in the Coronado citation with the FMC, the Slant Lima citation, and then on a very rare occasion we'll do an airliner flight in the PMDG 737 or 747. So we do change it up every now and then, but for the most part, slant alpha means radio nav, and that's what we try and do most of here on the channel. 4-Day for me says, good stuff and thanks for the ride. Yep, let's go ahead and get disconnected from that sim, and we'll see Mr. Northwest Orient. No. And Hasbro 33 just joined the adventure, so appreciate you being here. So here's what I was saying about how I feel like the stuttering of XPilot might be related to the fact that aircraft are not removed from the sim when they should be. I have closed XPilot. Northwest Orient is still here. So that I think that might be related to the fact that that XPilot gets real stuttery, and then you close it and it's still stuttery, but then when you reopen it, it's not stuttery anymore. Let's reopen XPilot, just see what happens. And reconnect. Well, he may still in fact be sitting there, I don't know. Alright, anyway, but just to demonstrate this again. Disconnect, okay. Alright, I think that may be the deal here. When you disconnect, it works. When you just close it, he stays. Okay. All right. Well, I'll let the developer know about that, just because that is something that he may need to look into. That might be related to the issue of the sim getting real stuttery, and then you close it and reopen it, and it kind of resets itself. So, all right. Anyway, we're disconnecting from VATSIM now. Let's go ahead and check this replay out. I do want to see how terrible this landing is. Let's back it up to, let's see, right about there. Yeah, we'll watch it from a tower view too. Yeah, I'm really fighting to get over. Right on center line. I can say that for it. Yeah, but that definitely was a dive for the deck. Oh, goodness. Oh, we stayed mostly on pavement. Well, our maintenance techs are going to have to check a few things out before that thing flies again, but that's all right. Let's see it from out here. It didn't look as bad from the cockpit. No, it felt as bad. Yeah, that was just and it was a factor of too much speed. So once I bounced, it just went right back airborne again. Yeah, let's look at that again from the inside, actually, because I want to see what was my airspeed as I was touching down. See, it's supposed to be about 85 over the threshold, and then you're supposed to kind of let it decay down to about 80. So I have a feeling it's just... Yeah, it's already drifting up to 90. And then as I go nose down to lose those last few hundred feet, well, I don't know, I'm at 80. It's too much descent rate is what it is. Yeah, it's alright. So the airspeed wasn't as off as I thought, but definitely too much of a descent rate. Alright, well, back to the drawing board. Yeah, of course, you can disregard that one. That wasn't quite as bad as the 731. In the replay, you lose some of the fidelity. So it wasn't quite as bad as that, but yeah, it was almost 400, 380 something. Anyway, all right, not my best work, but again, we made it to Catalina and live to tell the story, so we'll take it. All right, thanks very much, and we did have another. Oh yeah, Hasbro, I did say thank you for that. So yep, very good guys. So like I said, mostly a general aviation stream, and we're generally Monday and Friday nights. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the next few Fridays I'm actually going to miss, so just Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for the next handful. But Monday and Friday is normally 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to change coming up in a few weeks from 0100 Zulu Time to 0000 Zulu Time as we shift back into Daylight Savings Time here in the U.S. So, if you want to know what's coming up on the show schedule is posted in the information tab there if you're on the mobile device, or just scroll down below the window to see all of the beautiful information about the stream that I have there for you, and that includes the upcoming show schedule, so you can check that out. We've also got it posted in our Discord server, and the invite link to that's in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. You can also join us on Facebook and see the show schedule posted there. You can check us out on Twitter or Facebook if you want to know what's coming up and kind of keep tabs on what we're going to be doing. And always check out our old broadcasts if you ever want to see something that we've done in the past. All the shows get uploaded to our YouTube channel, and the link for that is at the lower left. I think that covers it all. Coming up next on the show, we are, as I said, off this coming Friday. A week from tonight, though, we get back into our Flying Wild Alaska night, the third Monday of every month. We've partnered up with Era Alaska Virtual version of the airline that was featured in the TV show Flying Wild Alaska that was on Discovery Network a few years ago. So there's a virtual version of that airline, and we do we'll do a couple flights with them on the third Monday of every month. This coming Monday, we're going to take ourselves, we're down at Anchorage for the group flight that we did with them last month, and we're going to ferry ourselves back to my assigned home base of Bethel. So Anchorage to Bethel, possibly in this very same DC-3, or possibly in the Prop Strike Cessna 172. So either way, that's going to be the flight Anchorage to Bethel in Alaska a week from tonight. And then 2 weeks from tonight, Monday the 24th, that's when we do a joint event with the Virtual USA Flying Club. We're calling it I Slip into Bayport. Bayport Aerodrome is a little grass strip that's right tucked up underneath the Class Charlie airspace around Islip, Long Island Airport. So we're going to depart from Nantucket Island. We're going to head down the coast of Long Island, and we're going to duck into the little grass strip called Bayport Aerodrome. We've got a real cool video that we'll post up to the channel that you can check out, an old video that is made for pilots to have some tips as far as getting in and out of that airport safely and avoiding the Class Charlie airspace there. So we'll post up that video, and then we'll try it for real, at least in this. We'll try it for real in the sim. We'll try it for pretend in 2 weeks on the 24th. All right, guys. Thanks again for being here. Ground Point Niner says see you soon. Good evening says Happy Valentine. Sim Caesar, Bamsler. Long-term plans that might start up now that finished the lower 48. Yeah, Bamsler. We actually got a new series that we're going to start at the end of March. You definitely want to check out the show schedule if you want some more information on that. We'll just leave it as the teaser on that for now, Bamsler. But it is posted in the show schedule, so go ahead and check that out. Yeah, bounced off the tail wheel says good evening. It might need some maintenance. And Melvin's going to be flying Chicago tomorrow. All right, guys. Well, anyway, thanks again for being here. Hope that we will see you again soon. Again, this Friday we'll be traveling, so we will see you a week from tonight. In the meantime, please have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a fantastic Valentine's Day and a safe weekend. Safe travels in all of your own adventures. And we will talk to you again a week from tonight.